Dr. Elias Kane stepped carefully onto the surface of Zithra. The alien world stretched before him, strange and beautiful. Towering crystalline spires glowed faintly under the planet's twin suns. The air was thin but breathable, with a hint of metallic scent. Elias paused, taking in the sight. Every detail of this place reminded him of how advanced this civilization was. The Zitherans were known across the galaxy for their intelligence, their technology, and their strict codes of honor. Elias was here on an urgent mission. A conflict had erupted between Zithra and a neighboring planet, and the alien queen, Syra, held the power to prevent a full-scale war. The Human Council had chosen him to negotiate, not because he was the strongest or the fastest, but because he was known for his courage, his clear thinking, and his ability to understand others. The palace was enormous, carved from the crystal towers themselves. Its corridors were lined with softly glowing panels, displaying shifting patterns of color. Elias followed the directions given to him by the Zitharan guides. He was warned that the chamber he was about to enter was strictly forbidden to outsiders. Even Zitharan diplomats rarely entered, but this mission left no choice. As he approached the chamber, he felt his heart beat faster. The doors were massive, made of translucent crystal, etched with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Elias took a deep breath and reminded himself to remain calm. Panic would only make things worse. He reached out and touched the surface of the doors. A faint hum vibrated through his fingers. The doors recognized him, or at least the authorization provided by the Queen's Council. Slowly, they slid open. Inside, the chamber was unlike anything Elias had imagined. The walls were smooth and reflective, shining like liquid silver. Strange plants floated in the air, moving gently as if breathing. Light filtered through crystal panels above, bathing the room in soft, golden hues. And there, in the center, stood Queen Syra. Elias froze for a moment. She was alone, preparing what appeared to be an ancient ritual. Her movements were precise, careful, almost ceremonial. She was not expecting anyone. The look on her face changed instantly when she saw him. Shock, surprise, and something Elias could not immediately identify crossed her features. He did not speak. He did not move closer. He knew better than to make sudden gestures in this room. The stories of Zitharan warriors were true. They could detect fear, hesitation, and even dishonesty. Elias had to show only respect and calm. Syra's eyes, large and glimmering, studied him carefully. She had never allowed a human this close before. She paused, unsure what to do. Elias noticed the hesitation and understood immediately. This was not anger, not fear. It was a test of character, of patience, of respect. He lowered his eyes slightly, a gesture humans sometimes use to show non-aggression. He stepped slowly to the side, giving her space. "Queen Syra," he said, his voice steady, "I come in peace. My purpose is not to disturb, but to speak with you." The queen's gaze did not waver. She tilted her head, considering his words. Elias had been trained for this. He knew the Zitharans valued honesty and clarity above all else. He continued calmly, "I understand this chamber is private. I enter only because the matter is urgent. Your guidance may prevent war." Syra's posture relaxed slightly, though. The tension in her shoulders remained. She had never encountered a human who did not act out of fear or arrogance. Humans were known to be bold, sometimes recklessly so. But Elias moved differently, carefully, confidently, yet without pride. The room was silent except for the soft hum of floating plants and the faint shimmer of light across the walls. Elias could feel the weight of history in the chamber, the centuries of rituals performed here. Every movement he made, every word he spoke, mattered. Finally, Syra spoke. Her voice was melodic, resonant, unlike anything Elias had ever heard. "Human," she said, "you enter a place few may see. Why should I trust you with this space, with this moment?" Elias met her gaze steadily. "Because I understand what trust means. Because I respect life, honor, and reason. Because I will not act without your guidance." For a moment, the queen studied him in silence. Then, slowly, she nodded. Not completely, but enough to show she was willing to continue. Elias felt a small surge of relief, though he kept his expression neutral. He knew the real challenge had just begun. Syra gestured to a circle of glowing symbols on the floor. "This is the ritual of vision," she explained. "It is not meant to be interrupted. Its purpose is to show the future, the path our people may take. You witness only because circumstances demand it. Step carefully. Speak only when asked." Elias nodded. He stepped forward, keeping to the edges of the circle. Every fiber of his being was alert. He could feel the chamber's energy, a subtle current that seemed almost alive. It was not dangerous, but it demanded attention. As he observed the queen, he realized the ritual was not merely a ceremony. It was a display of strength and vulnerability, of wisdom and foresight. The way she moved, the way she positioned herself, showed centuries of tradition, yet her eyes now revealed uncertainty. She had never allowed a human to see her in this state. Elias understood something vital in that moment. Leadership, he realized, was not about dominating others or demonstrating power. It was about courage, humility, and the willingness to face the unknown without fear. And in this chamber, he and the queen were both facing the unknown, each in their own way. Minutes passed like hours. Elias did not move. He did not speak. He simply observed and respected. Syra's initial shock gradually transformed into a guarded curiosity. He was human, yes, but not just that. He was deliberate, patient, and honorable, qualities rare even among the most advanced alien species. Finally, Syra spoke again. "You remain calm where others would falter," she said. "That is unusual. For humans, and perhaps for all outsiders." Elias bowed his head slightly, a gesture of respect. "I believe calm thought can prevent great harm," he said. "Even when faced with the unknown, restraint can be more powerful than action." The queen considered him carefully, then stepped back, giving him more space. She had seen enough to know that this human was different. Elias had not intruded. He had not demanded attention. He had entered, yes, but he had done so with respect, courage, and understanding. And in that moment, Elias realized that sometimes the smallest actions, the calm in the face of tension, the respect in the presence of authority, could speak louder than weapons or power. The ritual continued, but the queen's eyes now held a new thought. Perhaps humans were not just outsiders to be feared or tolerated. Perhaps, under the right circumstances, they could be allies. Elias remained still, observing, learning, and preparing for the next step. The chamber was forbidden, but he was here, and he would make every moment count. For him, for humanity, and perhaps for the fragile peace between worlds. After the initial tension in the chamber, Queen Syra finally allowed herself to move with more confidence. Her eyes, large and reflective like polished amber, continued to watch Dr. Elias Kane, the human who had dared to enter her private space. She had faced countless ambassadors, diplomats, and warriors from across the galaxy. Yet there was something unusual about this human. He carried neither fear nor arrogance, only a calm and focused presence. Elias, for his part, stayed at a respectful distance, aware that any sudden movement could ruin the fragile trust he had begun to earn. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Every gesture, every word mattered. Yet despite the alien surroundings, He remained confident. He reminded himself that humans were known for adaptability, curiosity, and courage, qualities that had allowed them to survive against impossible odds in the past. Sira spoke first, her voice soft but firm. Human, you understand restraint. You do not rush. You do not demand. That is unusual. Elias nodded slightly. I have learned, he replied, that sometimes observing is more important than acting, especially when the outcome affects many lives. The queen's gaze softened, though her posture remained poised and regal. She was beginning to see why the Zitharan Council had hesitated to trust humans fully. They were unpredictable, bold, and often reckless. But Elias was different. She could sense intelligence and honor in his careful actions. You are not here as a soldier, nor as a spy, she said, almost rhetorically. Yet your presence is deliberate. You carry authority in your calmness. Why do you risk entering this chamber alone? Elias took a measured breath. Because I believe some opportunities cannot wait. Because diplomacy sometimes requires courage. And because your guidance may prevent war. Sarah considered his words. She had witnessed humans in battle, in negotiations, and in moments of desperation. Yet she had rarely seen one approach a situation with such clarity and patience. It was refreshing, and, in a way, reassuring. For a long moment, the two simply observed each other. The air in the chamber seemed to hum with quiet energy, the floating plants drifting gently as if aware of the growing connection between the human and the queen. Elias felt an odd sense of calm wash over him. This was not just a meeting. It was a bridge between two very different worlds. Finally, the queen gestured toward a series of symbols etched into the crystalline floor. These symbols tell a story, she explained. They show our history, our struggles, and our triumphs. They are a reminder that leadership is not simply about power, it is about understanding and responsibility. Do you wish to see? Elias stepped closer, careful not to disturb the ritual circle. He knelt slightly, not out of fear, but out of respect for the tradition she was showing him. Yes, Your Majesty, he said. I wish to understand. The symbols glowed faintly as Syra spoke, and images seemed to form above the crystalline floor. Scenes from Zithara's past appeared. Wars fought against invading forces, times of famine, and moments of great discovery. Elias watched in fascination. Though alien, he recognized the universal struggles depicted, the need for courage, wisdom, and compassion. These images are not just history, Sira said. They are lessons. Every ruler of Zithara must understand them. They teach that true strength comes from the mind and heart, not the weapon. Elias nodded thoughtfully. In many ways, humans are similar. We have faced impossible odds and survived because we adapt, because we learn, and because we value life. Strength without wisdom is dangerous. Courage without understanding can be reckless. The queen's eyes narrowed slightly, studying him. She was beginning to see a reflection of her own values in this human. Perhaps, she thought, humans were more capable than the council had imagined. As the ritual continued, Syra stepped closer, her movements deliberate. You speak wisely, human. Your understanding of life and responsibility is uncommon. Most outsiders only see power, not its consequences. Elias remained calm. I have learned to listen before acting, to observe before deciding. It is not always easy, but it is necessary, especially when others' lives depend on our choices. The chamber remained quiet, save for the soft hum of energy and the subtle shifting of the floating plants. Syra felt a strange sense of connection forming. Elias was not just a visitor. He was a witness to her world, and he seemed to understand it in ways few others could. For the first time, Syra allowed a small smile to appear, fleeting but genuine. "Perhaps humans have more to teach us than we realized," she said quietly. Elias's eyes brightened slightly, though he kept his expression composed. "And perhaps we have much to learn from you, from your people, from your wisdom and your ways of seeing the world." The queen paused, then nodded slowly. She gestured for him to stand. "Very well, human. You may rise. We will continue. But understand this. The chamber is sacred. You have earned my trust for now, but it can be lost with a single misstep." Elias rose carefully, keeping his movements smooth and deliberate. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will respect this chamber and your guidance." For a moment, they simply stood together, studying the glowing symbols on the floor. The queen saw a human not defined by impulsive action or reckless courage, but by thought, respect, and wisdom. Elias saw an alien leader not just powerful, but complex, thoughtful, and capable of trust. Then the queen spoke again, her tone softer this time. "There is a matter beyond these walls that concerns both our peoples. An external threat approaches Zithra. I will need your counsel, human. Will you provide it?" Elias nodded without hesitation. "I will, Your Majesty. Together we can find a solution." Syra's expression changed. She had seen countless strategists, warriors, and diplomats, but something about this human gave her hope. Perhaps, she thought, humans were capable of greatness beyond what even the council had imagined. And in that quiet, golden-lit chamber, two very different beings, one human, one alien, began to understand each other. It was not friendship, not yet, but it was the start of respect, curiosity, and the realization that sometimes courage and understanding could bridge the widest gaps in the galaxy. As Elias prepared to step further into the rituals and lessons of Zithra, he knew one thing, for certain. This mission would test not only his intelligence and bravery, but the very best qualities of humanity. And for the first time, he felt that humans and their values might be exactly what this alien world needed. The chamber had grown quiet after the conversation between Dr. Elias Kane and Queen Syra. Light shimmered softly across the crystal walls, casting faint reflections on the floating plants that hovered like silent guardians. Elias felt a sense of focus settle over him. This was not a normal diplomatic mission. It was a chance to understand a world unlike any he had ever known. Syra's expression was serious as she gestured for him to follow deeper into the chamber. "There is more you must see, human," she said. "Not all is visible to those who only look with their eyes. To understand Zithra, one must see its past, its hidden knowledge, and its responsibilities." Elias followed carefully, noting the subtle hum of energy in the air. Every step seemed to resonate with the chamber itself, as though the walls remembered every ceremony and visitor who had ever entered. He could sense the gravity of the moment. The queen led him to a large, crystalline structure at the far end of the room. It was shaped like a tall obelisk, covered in symbols that pulsed faintly with golden light. "This is the Archive of Ancients," Syra explained. "It contains knowledge accumulated over thousands of cycles. Only the queen and a select few may access it directly. And now, because of the circumstances, you may witness it as well." Elias approached the obelisk cautiously. He could feel the intelligence within it, as if the crystal itself was alive. He studied the glowing symbols, trying to understand their meaning. Humans were skilled at problem-solving, but this was different. The archive was not just data. It was a living record, storing the wisdom, struggles, and decisions of countless Zithran leaders. "You may ask questions," Syra said, her tone calm but firm. "But you must listen with both mind and heart. The archive does not reveal its knowledge to those who are impatient or distracted." Elias nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will observe carefully and ask only when necessary. He placed his hand lightly on the crystal surface. A sudden warmth spread through his fingers and visions began to form before him. He saw the Zitherans' history unfold, great discoveries, alliances with distant worlds, and devastating wars. One scene showed a Zitheran fleet protecting their planet from a hostile invader, while another showed leaders debating over the ethics of powerful technology. Elias noticed the recurring theme. Zitherans valued wisdom over brute strength, foresight over impulse. These lessons are not easy to understand, Sira said quietly. Many fail to learn from history because they see only the surface. Humans, you must try to see the intentions behind each decision. Elias focused, analyzing the patterns and strategies shown by the archive. He realized that Zitherans had faced challenges that mirrored humanity's own struggles: survival against greater forces, the need for cooperation, and the consequences of hasty decisions. Yet their solutions were shaped by centuries of careful thought, logic, and cultural values that prized honor and restraint. He turned to the Queen. "Your people are incredible," he said. "You have preserved knowledge in ways humans could only dream of. Yet I noticed that some decisions were risky. There were moments when the outcome could have been disastrous." Syra's amber eyes studied him, a hint of approval in their glow. "Yes, no civilization is without risk, but every choice carries responsibility. That is why our leaders must learn from the past and why the archive exists. Perhaps humans, with your adaptability, might see solutions we cannot anticipate." Elias considered her words. "We often rely on creativity in the moment. Our strength is in our ability to improvise and adapt quickly. We may not have centuries of tradition, but we have courage and insight born from survival." The Queen nodded slowly. "Courage is admirable, human, but it must be guided by understanding. Recklessness is the enemy of wisdom. You must remember this if you hope to help." "Zithera!" A sudden alarm sounded in the chamber. Red light flashed along the walls, casting sharp reflections across the floating plants. Syra's expression changed instantly, and Elias felt a surge of tension. The air seemed to thrum with urgency. "The invaders are approaching faster than our scouts predicted," Syra said, her voice firm but controlled. "They seek to exploit Zithera's resources and disrupt our alliances. We must prepare immediately." Elias's mind raced. He had studied alien tactics before, but this was real. Lives depended on quick thinking, cooperation, and strategy. "We can combine our approaches," he suggested. "Humans improvise under pressure, and Zitherans calculate with precision. Together we could create a defense the invaders won't expect." Syra's eyes flicked toward him, a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Explain," she commanded. Elias stepped closer to the glowing symbols of the archive. "Your scouts give you patterns and probabilities," he said. "But patterns can be broken. We need to create scenarios that the enemy cannot predict. Humans use unpredictability to turn the tide in battle. We can combine that with your technology to control key positions and protect vital areas." The Queen listened, nodding slowly. "This approach is unconventional. The Council may resist." Elias smiled faintly. "Innovation often feels unconventional at first. But desperate times call for calculated risks. With cooperation, we can increase the odds of success." Syra regarded him silently for a long moment. Then she moved to a control panel embedded in the chamber wall. Symbols shifted and screens lit up, showing maps of Zithera and the approaching fleet of invaders. "Very well, human. We will test your ideas. But understand this. Failure could cost many lives. Your calculations must be precise, and your instincts must guide you when calculations are not enough." Elias's pulse quickened, not with fear, but with determination. I understand, Your Majesty. I will do everything I can to protect your people. The Queen paused and studied him for a moment longer. There is one more thing you must know, she said. The archive has shown me visions of possible futures. Some are dark, others hopeful. Humans may be a small part of our world now, but the choices you make in the coming hours could shape Zithra's destiny for cycles to come. Elias nodded, absorbing the weight of her words. The responsibility was enormous, but he did not falter. Humans had faced impossible odds before and survived through courage, intelligence, and cooperation. This was no different, just on a larger, alien scale. Sira extended her hand toward the central control panel. Then we begin, she said. Prepare yourself, human. You will witness the first step of our plan, and you will contribute. This is not a battle of strength alone. It is a battle of minds, of strategy, and of trust. Elias placed his hand near hers, ready to act. In that moment, he understood something vital. Courage was not just about facing danger. It was about thinking clearly under pressure, respecting others' wisdom, and using every resource wisely. Humans may be young in the galaxy, but in moments like these, their ingenuity and adaptability could shine brighter than any star. The chamber hummed with energy, the archive glowing in anticipation, and the Queen's gaze held both expectation and cautious hope. Together, human and alien would face the coming threat. And in that collaboration, Elias saw the true potential of humanity, not just to survive, but to inspire, lead, and protect, even on a world far from home. Outside the palace walls, the sky over Zithra darkened with the approach of alien ships. Their shapes were sleek and menacing, moving with speed that outpaced even the fastest scout drones. The invaders were determined, precise, and clearly well prepared. Yet for the first time, Queen Sira felt a strange sense of hope. She had allowed a human to see her chamber, to witness the archive, and now she had a partner in thought and strategy. Dr. Elias Kane stood beside her at the command console, studying the holographic maps of the approaching fleet. His mind raced as he analyzed the terrain, the technology of Zithra, and the patterns of enemy movement. Humans had survived countless impossible situations because they adapted, and Elias intended to apply that same principle here. Your scouts estimate arrival in 40 minutes, Sira said, her voice steady despite the tension. We have limited time to prepare. Elias nodded. Then we use what we have efficiently. The enemy expects standard defenses. They anticipate that Zithra relies heavily on calculated patterns. That is where we can gain the advantage. We will break their expectations. The Queen raised an eyebrow. Explain. Elias pointed at the holographic map. We divide our forces. Half will maintain the expected defensive positions. This will lure the enemy into predictable paths. The other half, a smaller mobile unit, will strike from unexpected angles. We will use the environment, the mountains, the valleys, the energy, fields, to our advantage. Humans excel in improvisation. Zithran technology can amplify that advantage. Together we can outmaneuver them. Sira studied him carefully. It is risky. A single mistake could cost thousands of lives. Elias met her gaze with calm determination. I know, but standing still guarantees defeat. Calculated risk gives us a chance to win. Sira paused, considering his words. She saw no arrogance, only confidence grounded in logic and experience. Slowly, she nodded. Very well. We will proceed as you suggest. You will lead the mobile unit with my officers. Their skills are exceptional, but they lack your adaptability. They will need guidance. Elias felt a surge of responsibility. Leading an alien unit in battle was unlike anything he had experienced. But he drew on everything humans were known for: courage, creativity, and decisiveness. I will do my best, Your Majesty, he said. The Queen gave him a brief nod and moved to the communication panels. She issued orders to the Zitharan forces, coordinating their positions and preparing them for the incoming attack. The soldiers and officers moved with precision, yet Elias noticed a slight hesitation in some, a lack of confidence in his unconventional plan. He would need to inspire them quickly. He stepped onto the transport platform, feeling the subtle hum of anti-gravity fields lifting him and the team toward the deployment zone. The sky was darkening further, the twin suns dipping behind distant mountains, casting long shadows across the landscape. The first ships of the invaders appeared on the horizon, sleek and metallic, glinting ominously in the fading light. Elias took a deep breath. "Remember," he said to the team, "the enemy expects us to act in predictable ways. We will do the opposite. Stay alert, adapt to changes, and trust each other. Humans survive because we think, we improvise, and we never give up. You have Zitharan technology. Use it wisely. Together, we can win." The mobile unit advanced, moving quickly through the valleys and forests, avoiding detection by the enemy's long-range scanners. Elias guided them carefully, using natural cover and energy-shielded vehicles. Every decision mattered. Every maneuver had the potential to save lives or risk disaster. As the enemy ships closed in, Elias signaled the first diversion. A small contingent of Zitharan forces moved into the open, simulating the standard defensive positions. Sensors detected the movement, and the invaders adjusted their course exactly as Elias had predicted. They fell into the trap, advancing along paths that made them vulnerable. Elias's mobile unit waited patiently, hidden behind a ridge. Then, at the right moment, they struck. Energy pulses surged from hidden positions, disabling enemy sensors and vehicles. The invaders scrambled to respond, but the terrain worked against them. Narrow passes, energy fields, and rapid human-guided maneuvers created confusion and slowed their advance. From above, Queen Syra observed the operation, her eyes following the unfolding strategy. She had commanded battles for centuries, but she found herself impressed by the humans' ingenuity. Elias did not rely solely on technology. He used observation, intuition, and timing. Each move was calculated yet flexible, responding instantly to the enemy's actions. Despite the success, the invaders adapted quickly. Larger ships advanced, targeting key positions. Elias realized he needed another strategy. "We split again," he instructed. "Half will draw them toward the mountains. The others will move to flank from the ridges. Use every energy shield and sensor to your advantage. Do not hesitate." The team executed the plan flawlessly, moving with precision, guided by Elias's calm and confident commands. The enemy ships became tangled in the natural defenses, their paths disrupted and their formations broken. The mobile unit struck repeatedly, weakening the invaders' advance while keeping Zitharan losses minimal. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, the invaders began to retreat. Their fleet was damaged, disorganized, and unable to continue the attack without risking total loss. Elias guided his unit back toward Zithara, monitoring for stragglers or hidden threats. When they returned to the palace, Syra awaited them. She studied Elias and the team with quiet approval. "You acted decisively," she said. "Your leadership turned the tide of this battle. The Council will hear of this day. Humans may be new to the galaxy, but your qualities, adaptability, courage, and quick thinking have earned respect." Elias stepped forward, bowing slightly. "I only followed the principles that guide humans. Observe, adapt, and act with integrity. And I relied on the skills of your people. This victory is shared." Syra's expression softened. "You are correct, human. Victory is never the work of one individual, but you have shown qualities we rarely see in outsiders, qualities that may change how our species sees humanity." Elias allowed himself a small smile. It was rare, but he felt a sense of accomplishment. He had faced an alien threat and guided a combined force to success, and in doing so, he had strengthened the fragile trust between humans and Zitherans. Yet he knew the victory was temporary. The invaders would return, perhaps stronger next time. And the political challenges on Zithera were far from resolved. But for now, he allowed himself a moment to recognize what had been achieved. Humans, even in an alien world, could make a difference. Their ingenuity, courage, and determination were not bound by planets or species. They could shape outcomes anywhere in the galaxy. Syra stepped closer to him. "You will stay on Zithera for now," she said. "We will need your counsel as we rebuild defenses and prepare for future threats. Your presence here is welcome." Elias nodded. "I will remain, Your Majesty. Humanity and Zithera can learn from each other. Together, we can face whatever comes next." And as the twin suns set behind the crystalline towers, casting long shadows over the recovering battlefield, Elias understood something profound. Courage, intelligence, and respect, the qualities humans carried, could inspire allies, overcome threats, and change the course of entire worlds. And in this moment, he felt that humanity's place among the stars was not just survival, but contribution, leadership, and hope. The morning after the battle, Zithera's skies were calm, though the tension in the palace remained high. Dr. Elias Kane walked through the crystalline halls with purpose. Queen Syra had summoned him to discuss the next steps. The invaders might have retreated, but their return was inevitable. Preparing Zithera for the future required more than defense. It required unity. "Human," Syra greeted him, her amber eyes sharp with focus. "The council is divided. Some fear your strategies, others see their value. We must show them that cooperation between our peoples is not only possible, but essential." Elias nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. Humans work best when we combine creativity with the strengths of others. Your people have technology and discipline. Together, we can form a force that no enemy can easily predict." The Queen gestured for him to follow. They moved into a planning chamber filled with holographic displays. Maps of Zithera's terrain rotated above the table, showing energy fields, supply lines, and strategic locations. Officers from both the human delegation and the Zitheran Council were present, waiting for guidance. Elias took a deep breath. "We will form small, flexible units," he explained. "Each unit combines human adaptability and Zitheran technology. The humans will focus on rapid improvisation, observation, and unexpected tactics. The Zitherans provide precision, energy weapons, and shields. Together, we cover each other's weaknesses." A Zitheran officer spoke, her voice curious but cautious. "Your methods are unconventional. How can we trust improvisation when the enemy is precise?" Elias smiled faintly. "Precision alone is not enough. The enemy predicts patterns, follows rules. Improvisation breaks their expectations. If we remain predictable, we lose. By combining both approaches, we maximize our strengths and minimize vulnerabilities." Queen Syra nodded approvingly. "This human is correct. Our history shows that overconfidence and rigidity lead to defeat. Flexibility in thought and action is the key." The council murmured among themselves, some skeptical, others intrigued. Elias ignored the whispers, focusing on preparation. "We start by strengthening key points of defense while creating diversion paths," he said, pointing to areas on the holographic map. "We will train mixed units to respond instantly to any threat, using both human ingenuity and Zitheran precision. Communication and trust are essential. Everyone must understand not just orders, but intent." The officers exchanged looks, realizing the wisdom in his words. Training began immediately. Humans and Zitherans worked side by side, learning each other's methods. Humans taught adaptive tactics, quick decision-making under pressure, and ways to exploit terrain and timing. Zitherans shared energy field manipulation, sensor technology, and advanced weapon coordination. Elias moved from group to group, guiding, correcting, and encouraging. His presence inspired confidence. The Zitherans, initially skeptical of human methods, began to see the effectiveness of quick thinking and adaptability when combined with their superior technology. Queen Syra watched from a platform above, impressed by how the human integrated so smoothly. "Your presence changes more than tactics, human," she said quietly to her advisor. "It changes perspectives. Our people begin to see that humans are not reckless, but capable allies." Days passed, and the training continued. Elias devised simulations that mimicked potential invasion scenarios. Humans led small squads through obstacle-filled environments, adapting to sudden changes in enemy patterns. Zitharan officers learned to adjust their calculations on the fly, relying on human instincts when conventional strategies faltered. The turning point came when an early warning signal detected a small contingent of the invaders scouting Zithara's outskirts. Elias seized the opportunity. "This is a test," he said to the mixed units. "We face a real threat, but we control the outcome. Execute what we have practiced. Remember, adaptability and precision together will succeed where either alone might fail." The teams moved out. Humans and Zitherans worked in perfect synchronization, covering each other's blind spots, communicating constantly, and adjusting tactics based on real-time observations. The invaders, confident in their previous victories, were caught off guard by the unpredictability and coordination of the mixed units. Energy pulses flashed across the landscape. Enemy vehicles were neutralized, and strategic positions were secured, without unnecessary loss. Elias guided the operation with calm authority, demonstrating that leadership was not about domination, but about clear thought, communication, and trust in the team. When the last invader retreated, the units regrouped at the palace. Their success was not just a military victory, it was proof of the human-Zitharan alliance in action. Officers from the council approached Elias, offering nods of respect and words of approval. Queen Syra descended from her platform. "You have done more than defend Zithera, human," she said. "You have shown our people that collaboration can achieve what one species alone cannot. Your ingenuity, courage, and ability to inspire have strengthened Zithera beyond expectation." Elias bowed slightly. "It is not my work alone, Your Majesty. Zitherans and humans together accomplished this. Cooperation is the real victory." The Queen studied him carefully. "Perhaps humans have a role in the galaxy larger than we first imagined," she said. "Not only in survival or conquest, but in shaping alliances, inspiring innovation, and offering new perspectives. Your presence here has proven that bravery and intelligence, qualities humans possess, can create hope in even the darkest moments." Elias allowed himself a small smile. Humanity has always believed that courage, curiosity, and respect for others can overcome great challenges. I am honored to show that on your world. The palace's crystalline walls reflected the golden light of Zithara's sun, casting patterns that seemed to dance across the faces of those assembled. For the first time, humans and Zitherans moved as a single unified force. The invaders' threat had revealed not weakness, but the power of cooperation and ingenuity. Later, in the quiet of the command chamber, Syra approached Elias. "You have earned my trust completely," she said. "The council will accept your guidance because they have seen the results. But more importantly, I have seen the qualities that make humans unique. You think differently, act decisively, and inspire loyalty. These are the marks of true leadership." Elias nodded. "Leadership is not about authority alone, Your Majesty. It is about understanding, supporting, and guiding those you serve. Humans and Zitherans can learn from each other, and together, we are stronger than either alone." Syra smiled faintly. "You have given us more than strategy. You have given us hope, and that, human, is invaluable." Elias felt a quiet pride. His mission was far from over, but he had demonstrated the essence of humanity: courage, adaptability, intelligence, and the ability to build bridges between species. Zithra was safer, the council more open-minded, and a foundation for lasting alliance had been laid. As the twin suns set over the crystalline towers, casting long shadows across the palace, Elias looked out at the horizon. Beyond the mountains, beyond the valleys, dangers would come again. But he knew one thing with certainty: humans, even far from Earth, could make a difference. Their creativity, courage, and determination were not limited to their home world. They could inspire, lead, and protect wherever they went. And in that quiet, golden-lit moment, Elias understood the true power of humanity. Not only to survive, but to unite, to innovate, and to transform the future of worlds. The morning sun rose over Zithra, casting soft golden light across the crystalline towers of the palace. For the first time in cycles, a calm settled over the planet. The invading fleet had retreated, the Zithran forces were recovering, and the human-Zithran alliance had proven its strength. Yet Dr. Elias Kane knew the work was far from complete. True peace required more than victory in battle. It required trust, understanding, and continued collaboration. Queen Syra summoned Elias to the central council chamber. Her expression was thoughtful, reflecting both pride and the weight of leadership. "Human," she said, her voice resonant yet calm, "you have shown courage, intelligence, and integrity. The council now sees what I have known all along. Humans can offer wisdom and strength in ways we did not anticipate." Elias bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, it is not just my efforts. The success we achieved is shared by all, human and Zithran, alike. Our cooperation made it possible." Syra nodded, gesturing for him to rise. "True, but you were the catalyst. Your insight and your ability to adapt under pressure inspired confidence, strategy, and trust. You have changed perceptions. Humans are no longer outsiders. They are allies." The council chamber was filled with leaders, officers, and scholars. They had gathered to witness the formal recognition of the human contribution to Zithra's defense. Whispers of approval and curiosity passed among them. Many had been skeptical at first, doubting Elias's methods, but the results spoke for themselves. His leadership had not only saved lives, but strengthened the bonds between species. Elias stepped forward and addressed the council. "Honored leaders," he began, his voice steady. "Today we have proven that strength comes not just from power, but from unity, respect, and shared purpose. Humans may be young in this galaxy, but we have learned from your wisdom, your technology, and your traditions. Together we can face any challenge, no matter how great." The council members listened, some nodding, some exchanging impressed glances. It was rare for a human to speak so confidently in the presence of so many Zithran leaders, yet Elias's words carried both humility and authority. He had learned that leadership was not about dominance. It was about inspiring others and earning trust. Queen Syra moved to his side. "Human," she said, "we face many uncertainties in the galaxy. Threats will come again, and alliances will be tested. But today you have shown what humans can achieve when guided by courage, thought, and honor. Zithra and your people have much to learn from one another. Let this be the beginning of a lasting partnership." Elias felt a quiet pride. "Your Majesty, I believe humans and Zithrans share many values: curiosity, courage, respect, and the desire to protect life. If we combine those values, we can build a future where our worlds support one another, not compete." The Queen studied, him closely, her amber eyes reflecting the golden light of the chamber. "You speak wisely, human. You have earned not only our respect but also our trust. That is no small achievement." A council elder stepped forward, his voice deep and authoritative. "Dr. Kane, your actions have not only defended Zithera, but also inspired our people. We recognize that humans can contribute to our society, not as outsiders, but as partners. We welcome your continued guidance and presence." Elias nodded respectfully. "I am honored, and I promise to uphold the trust you have placed in me. Together we will ensure that Zithera remains safe, prosperous, and strong." The council session ended with a ceremony to honor those who had contributed to the planet's defense. Humans and Zitherans stood side by side, united in purpose. Elias observed the camaraderie and mutual respect that had formed. It was a testament to what could be achieved when differences were set aside and strengths combined. After the ceremony, Queen Syra led Elias to the central observation tower. From there, one could see the full expanse of Zithera, crystalline forests, shimmering rivers, and mountains that seemed to touch the sky. The planet was recovering from its recent trials, but there was a sense of renewed hope. "Look at this world," Syra said softly, her voice filled with awe. "It has faced countless challenges, yet it endures, and now humans have become part of its story." Elias looked out across the landscape. "It is beautiful," he said, "and full of potential, not just for survival, but for growth, discovery, and cooperation. Humanity can learn from Zithera, and Zithera can learn from humanity. Together, we can face the future with confidence." The Queen nodded, a rare smile touching her features. "I believe you are right. Your presence has changed how we see the galaxy, and how we see humans. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and respect are not limited to one species. These qualities can shape the destiny of worlds." Elias felt a quiet satisfaction. It was not pride in himself, but in what humans could achieve. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage had made a tangible difference. And he realized that being human meant more than survival. It meant using those qualities to inspire, lead, and protect. Over the next days, the Human-Zitheran alliance solidified. Mixed units trained together, sharing tactics and knowledge. Scientists collaborated on energy fields, communication systems, and planetary defenses. Diplomats worked to strengthen political ties, ensuring that both species had a voice in shaping the future. Elias played a key role in each effort, bridging the gap between cultures, guiding strategy, and fostering understanding. One evening, as the twin suns set, casting a warm glow across the palace towers, Elias walked with Queen Syra along the observation deck. The air was calm, and the floating plants drifted gently around them, illuminated by the soft light. "You have done more than I could have imagined, human," Syra said quietly. "You have not only defended Zithera, but shown our people what cooperation, courage, and intelligence can achieve. Your presence here is a reminder that humans have a place among the stars, not just to survive, but to inspire, to lead, and to create hope." Elias nodded. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humanity has always believed that courage, respect, and curiosity can overcome challenges. I am honored to demonstrate that here, and I will continue to do so as long as I am able." Syra smiled, a genuine warmth in her eyes. "Then let this be the beginning of a lasting alliance. Humans and Zitherans together can shape a future where understanding and strength go hand in hand. And you, human, have shown that your species' best qualities can guide not just one world, but many." Elias looked out across the horizon, the sky glowing with the light of dawn. For the first time, he felt the full weight of possibility. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but humans, through courage, intelligence, and the ability to work with others, could make a difference anywhere. And in that moment, he understood the true meaning of humanity. Not merely survival, not merely strength, but the ability to inspire, lead, and protect across worlds. Zithra was safe, the alliance was strong, and the future, though uncertain, was bright with potential. Together, humans and Zithrans would face the galaxy, not as strangers, not as outsiders, but as partners. And through their cooperation, hope and courage would shine as brightly as the twin suns over Zithra.